Hello, this is Sagar Lalka, and today we are going to talk about the subject industrial marketing. And so we'll be going through the syllabus and why we'll be understanding basically that why is it essential to study this subject and what are the no what are the challenges which comes across while studying this subject. Uh, so first of all, we know that what marketing is all about. So the moment the word marketing comes, we are always we have this concept that it's all about selling, right? But then marketing is not only just about selling, but then it's also about making sure that the idea behind that product, the concept behind that product is always also conveyed to the customers, targeted audience. So. So initially when there were the era when it started, right, from the production, then to the selling, and then to the marketing part, and now we are into the digital era. So initially it was like the products were treated as a products, and the focus was more on manufacturing it and selling it off in a bulk. But then slowly and steadily, when the competition started and when people started realizing the entrepreneurship fundamentals and started understanding more of the manufacturing thing, so there was more competition about it, and that's how the expansion started taking care of. So slowly and steadily it happened that so the basic marketing fundamentals were very no they were able to utilize those marketing tools and marketing strategies with reference to the products which were consumed by the consumers. But then a stage came wherein these industrial products, the industrial goods and services which were offered by the manufacturers, they cannot be treated in the same way what we used to deal with the regular products, that is B2C. So that was a challenge, and where the experts and the researchers, they have worked on the different dimensions of it, trying to figure it out, trying to understand that why was it very essential to have an exclusive marketing strategies and have an exclusive marketing pattern for the industrial marketing, and why not to have the common marketing channels for both the segments, that is B2B and B2C. So that's how the evolution came across, where people started realizing that industrial marketing and the industrial segment was with a bulk products, which was with a more of a raw materials thing, and something which was not directly connected to the customer. But then somewhere there were mediators associated in between who used to take up the entire industrial goods and services, and then they modify it, and then they sell it off to the consumers. So here it was like, how can we promote it, and how can the industrial goods can be reached to the potential clients or to the potential companies. And that's how the industrial marketing fundamentals came into the picture. So, industrial marketing is also known as B2B, because this is a strategies wherein one business sells the goods and services to the other business. So that's how B2B works, and that's how the goods and services are exchanged between the two companies. So when we talk about the industrial goods, so the products or the services, the goods and the services which could come would be the raw material, like maybe cotton, timber. Then you might have the manufacturing, like batteries and the equipments required for a certain kind of automobile thing. Then you might have the supplies of consumables like oils, lubricants, extracting these oils from a certain resources and then transforming it to the lubricants and the oils, different oils. Then there would be the industrial goods based for the machineries, power generators. So the segment for the goods and the services is on a very large platform, and the kind of setup which they are dealing is also on a large scale, and that is the reason it was very essential for an individual, especially from the management field, to understand the concept of industrial marketing, and to understand that what are those elements which need to be considered, while deciding the marketing strategies for the industrial goods and services. So like your first unit, which talks about the basics to the introduction to the marketing, industrial marketing, wherein we'll understand the concept of industrial marketing, and what are the different types of industrial markets we have. Like, so you have your perfect competition, you have monopoly market, you have duopoly, you have oligopoly, you have monopolistic competition. So these are the different kind of industrial, the different kind of market segments which we'll be studying, which will help us to decide the appropriate marketing tools and marketing strategies to be implemented based on which kind of, in which category or in which type of the industry segment our goods and services fall into. Then there will be a classification of product, like as I mentioned, there would be something related to manufacturing of parts, there could be something related to the supplies of consumable, something related to the raw material manufacturing. So these would be the different classifications, and then we'll be having detailed study about the different norms, government rules and regulations meant for manufacturing a certain kind of industrial goods and services. And then simultaneously we'll be looking at what are the different trends happening around as far as industrial marketing is concerned. What are the different channels, what are the different tools which companies are using these days, and how it is benefiting to them. So the first unit will give the clear idea about what exactly the industrial marketing is, what are the different segments, market segments. Then it will also give you more clarity about your focus area too, wherein you can, in a near future, where in case if you would like to work, or if you want to start up something on a bigger scale, or start up your own manufacturing unit. So it will help you out to understand a proper segment, and how you can classify your products based on the B2B kind of thing, and what kind of services can you offer as far as the industrial segment is concerned. And then simultaneously, this unit will also help to understand the environmental factors which could affect directly or indirectly on the marketing strategies of the industrial goods and services. So that's what was the unit 1. And coming towards the unit 2, unit 2 will talk about as we know, there's a consumer buying behavior pattern, which one needs to understand that how a certain consumer buys a product, and who is a decision maker, how does he makes the purchases. In a similar way, we also need to understand the clientele, and in that specific segment, how usually the one business thinks of buying a certain kind of things, in which way and through which channels. Because as far as the industrial marketing is concerned, we do not expend, the companies do not spend much on the branding, or much of the expenses is not spent for the promotional offers or discounts, or certain kind of campaigns to be run for the promotion of the products and the services. Because as I told, these industrial products, industrial goods and services are on a larger scale, and are bought in a larger scale from one company to the other company, so that cost is definitely cut down. So now we need to figure it out, that like how the companies can approach and how these companies can deal with them, because this could be the once business is tied up with the another company, so it's a long term association, and it's an ongoing association. So keeping all these factors in mind, and considering that what kind of clientele, what kind of business the owner wants, or the industrialist wants to connect with them or associate with them, so that there is a continuous revenue generation. Simultaneously, there is an ongoing activity, and also the other business with which we are going to associate, they are happy and satisfied with the services which have been offered. So that is what we'll be understanding in unit 2, which will talk more about the buying patterns and how to the vendor analysis, what kind of vendors we have, how they are deal, and how their performances are evaluated. So that is what we will talk about the unit 2. Coming to unit 3, which is more of the strategy part, the core the core area of the marketing is like, until unless you have sorted your positioning, targeting, and the segmentation done, the product, whether it is your consumer products or whether it is an industrial goods or services, it will not be able to no the marketing will not be done in a very proper way. So it is essential to understand your market segment, whom you are going to target, what kind of positioning you have, what kind of audience, what kind of potential is there as far as the goods and services which you are creating. So based on that, the entire strategy will be created, and along with that, all the minute thing, which is like your micro and macro factors which affect the segmentation of the market, that has to be analyzed. And along with that, how can you how it can be differentiated so as to have a long-term relation and association with the companies. So this third unit will be quite interesting, and because this is more of building up a brand, building up a different association, and understanding basically that how you want your company to be looked at, and how your product and services to be looked at, when you are putting yourself into the market, and especially when we talk about the industrial goods and services. Right. So the fourth unit is developing the product strategies, analyzing the product life cycle, then your different type of technical assistance and organizations, which would be directly or indirectly are the backbones of the organization. So any company, any manufacturer, and any business unit which starts a product, or which basically gives a birth to a product, definitely has a certain kind of limitations of giving the keeping active about the product which he has started up. So in industrial goods and services also, the marketers need to understand the entire product life cycle, that how long and to what extent and in what quantity these products can be generated and can be delivered so as to match the demand and supply, and the kind of contracts which are signed between the two business units. So say for example, this could be like a XYZ company who is manufacturing the fabrics, and manufacturing the cotton fabric and selling it off to the big giants who actually get these fabric raw materials, and then they get the fabric done, they get the design clothes, and then they sell it to the wholesalers and retailers. So now, in case if there is the entire fashion industry, if is not responding to it, and if this ABC company stops designing the clothes, or is the market is not accepting, the wholesalers are not accepting, then the company needs to think about what they are going to do with the raw material. So the entire process will get stopped. So it is necessary to understand that why how this product life cycle will work on, and how this can be utilized on a different channels, how the resources can be utilized in a better way, and that's how the strategy comes into the picture. So as a marketing professional, in case if you have plans, and if you're working into the industrial segment and dealing with B2B, your strategies need to be very strong enough based on the positioning, understanding the positioning of the company, understanding the positioning of the product which the company is offering, the goods and the services which are offering, and simultaneously who is your target audience and what is the how niche they are, and like what kind of variations are available into that, and how long it can be survived, and accordingly based on the targeting, the entire marketing plan can be restructured for the benefit of the organization. Coming towards like fourth unit, the fourth unit which we spoke about was the PLC. So PLC will so one strategy is decided. The layout is decided for the target audience, the positioning of it, and the segmentation part, and then the PLC part is understood, wherein we know what will be the life of the product and how long is going to survive and in which way is going to be survived. So based on these, the interdependency is always there about the strategies and the product development part. And then the last unit talks about the industrial distribution channels, so the logistics, and the entire structure wherein these goods and services are to be delivered from one place to the another place, and maybe it could be from one city to the another city, or from one state to the another state. So understanding the feasibility channel, understanding the financial aspect, the cost effective way of making these goods and services available to the clientele, and making it making it available on time is what the major challenge would be. So sometimes it could have also happened that the government norms, rules and regulations are changed up, and so the transportation cost would increase, and because of which directly or indirectly it would also affect the the transactions between one organization to the another organization. So there are different challenges which comes across the channel, and but then that has to be understood and lined up in a way wherein the entire process runs smoothly. So these are the 5 units which will give the basic and more or less, I would say, give the entire picture of the industrial marketing, and it will allow you the detailed study of these units will allow you to have a more clear picture, wider picture, and the best part is you will start understanding the difference between the kind of FMGC goods which we see around, and the kind of advertisement and the promotion and the marketing tools which are being used, and there's a difference between what is implemented into the industrial marketing. So that's how the scenario is, and as I mentioned, the necessity was because the time has come where an exclusivity has to be there, because implementing a certain kind of strategy for your day-to-day product and the goods and services from the industrial which are on a bulk part, definitely that was the challenge. And the business units are growing day by day, and the larger amount of goods and services are manufactured, some are exported, and some are supplied across the India. So based on these elements, the marketers have to make sure that the awareness about their availability, awareness about the goods and services which these companies manufacture has to be reached in a very proper way, and in a very systematic way to the right potential buyers, so that they can connect and they can utilize it. They can utilize these channels. So as a management professional, it's always an add-on value to understand the industrial features, and I would suggest if you can just read more about the various industrial products, the various industrial companies, and if you read their portfolios, you would come to know that every individual segment is dealing with the marketing strategies in a very unique way and in a very systematic way, and understand definitely beyond this, understanding the market segment itself is a very interesting thing, for a management professional. So once you understand that the specific number of products or the specific number of companies fall into a certain kind of, maybe it is a perfect competition or a monopoly market. So you would come to know that how you dominate, and how what kind of difference does it make when we have an exclusive products. We have an exclusive product niche market, and one side we have a certain number of goods and services which are manufactured in a lot, right? So that's how the things are. And it's like, the more you read about the products, the more you read about the goods and services which are manufactured by the different industries. I'm sure you will have more, you will be tempted to read more about it. So that's how, that's what all about the syllabus is. And I would request to kindly go through the major areas to be studied from these units is your understanding different market segments, understanding different types of goods and services, understanding the targeting, segmentation and positioning of the goods and services, understanding the PLC, and deciding on the factors which decides the transportation and the distribution channel. So if you even read about these few topics, you will have more clear thoughts, and you will have more information about how it actually works. So yeah, that's it. In case if you have any questions or something, you can please text.